Hey guys, it's Dustin. I know it's only been about 2 days since my last update, and I actually also put up a video last night on taming my pigeons, which was a request, and it hadn't been very long, but something exciting's happened in the loft, as things are always happening in here. It's never boring, that I want to show you. So, a couple important details I should fill you in on is this pair here. That's the cock, that hen, of course, sitting on the nest in there. They are over a year old. They were a year old in October, but they are first-time parents. And this pigeon over here that's going crazy is one of my Bill Sonder birds. I let them out of their nest box, and they've just been flipping out. I'm really disappointed in that, actually. But to just ignore them. But they're first-time parents. They were hatched in October of 2015, and so 2016, and also this pair, that hen and my Ash-red T-check cock, they were also hatched out it was the same week. They're only a few days apart. And this one pair over here did breed, but they didn't. So they're first-time parents, and they only laid one egg. I wouldn't necessarily say that that's common, but it's certainly not unusual. That'll happen sometimes. And even when they do lay 2 eggs, which usually they'll lay 2 eggs, they are oftentimes not fertile. But this one was fertile, but it was just one. And I've got a friend at the club. He's a funny guy. He offered me some eggs, even though it's the very beginning of the breeding season. He's trying to breed out birds too. I know the guy. He wasn't just giving me eggs that he didn't want. He was offering me eggs from his racing stock, his breeding pairs for this year. And he's a real nice guy, despite suffering severe losses from hawks and being kind of understocked. He offered me eggs as soon as he found out I had a pair that only laid 1 egg. So I got 2 for him to put under there. And I know I showed you all in, I think, the last video that one of them had been cracked, but that was not necessarily something to worry about. Got to keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't get broken the rest of the way and ruin the nest. But as long as it doesn't, it's likely that it'll still hatch. But that being said, those eggs were a little further along than the egg that they laid. And even though I wasn't expecting it to hatch for a couple more days, I came in here and I just had a feeling I better check under her. Didn't see any eggshell laying anywhere, just had that feeling. So here we go, I'll show you. Come here. So, if I can get it flipped around here. Here's a baby racing homer. If you can see, it actually already looks a little bit bigger since when I got it out earlier, a few hours ago. Baby pigeons grow very quickly, so I'll probably be making a lot more updates as these pigeons grow. Now I'm going to put it back because it's not freezing cold in here, but it's certainly not toasty either. And that squab's probably only a few hours old, you know. Probably born later this morning. But so that squab has hatched 4 days before the egg that they laid is due to hatch, and hopefully the cracked one will hatch here in the next couple of days too. That's not necessarily a problem. It's not a problem that this pair has 3 eggs. That's not a problem. Pigeons can raise 3 babies. Some pigeons have successfully raised 4 babies without any kind of problems, though I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. That might be something you could do with with a pair of pumpers like White Kings. You could probably put 4 racing homer babies, certainly 4 rollers under them. But they should be able to lay raise 3 babies just fine. Just got to keep a very close check on them, make sure no one's getting underfed, and that would be an especially big issue with the fact that the youngest and oldest babies are probably going to be about 4 days apart, possibly 5. Pigeons start making pigeon milk about I can't remember if it's 10 days into breeding or 10 days from laying. I think after 10 days they start making pigeon milk in their crop, which means she's been making pigeon milk for about 4 days now in her crop, so she can feed that baby. I'm not concerned at all about that. That baby is not going to grow so big to where she stops incubating it before that egg hatches. That's not going to be a problem either. I'm just going to have to keep a close watch and make sure the youngest one doesn't get underfed and is scrawny. That being said, if it is underfed and is scrawny and, you know, possibly even in danger, it's so thin, what am I going to do? I don't have any other pairs to put them under. It would be much bigger than, say, these when they hatch, and then I'd have the same problem. So what do? I have formula for raising pigeons. It's actually a parrot formula. I prefer the KT, or maybe it's KP. I get it mixed up all the time. I think it's KT. Yeah, it is. It's KAY. I guess it'd be a hyphen. TEE is actually how it's spelled, so it's not just the letters. And I'm actually feeding them KT food right now. Their seed is a KT blend. But I've got KT formula that I would feed them. Actually, that's not the brand of formula I have at the moment. Though the one I have works, I do prefer the KT. And it's just a powdered mix. You mix it up with hot water. Of course, it's really more complicated than that. And I do intend to show y'all how to breed, or how to raise babies on formula. And this pair may force me to with that decision I made in getting some eggs that were a few days older. Maybe not. Maybe they will. Regardless of whether they do or not, I'm wanting to raise these roller babies on formula and actually sell them at our church's silent auction for our missions conference, or global missions conference. A silent auction, if you don't know, I'm sure everyone knows what an auction is. Instead of yelling and raising things up in the air and having someone calling out a bunch of numbers, there's just a paper slip in front of each item, and you walk around, and if someone's bid on it and you want it, then you just write down a slightly higher number. There may be some rule that it has to be $1 more or $5 more or whatever, but so that's what a silent auction is, and all the money goes to funding missionaries around the world. So, not for my profit. I've never sold any pigeons at all, actually. If I do this, which I'm planning on it, that'll be the first time, and I won't make any profit off of it. So, as of yet, I've never profited off of pigeons. This is just for a good cause. So, I want to be able to sell them as good rollers. I mean, that's the easy part. Both parents are good rollers, so hopefully the babies would be too. You take a chance with that when you buy baby rollers that haven't proven themselves yet. But I also want to be able to sell them as pets, because pigeons make great pets. They're about the same size as a medium-sized parrot, but they don't make near as much noise. They make less noise, and the noise they do make is quieter. You know, they usually won't bite. They won't bite as a defense. Of course, that doesn't necessarily apply on the nest. You can see she's biting me here, but that doesn't hurt. I mean, she's grabbing me, but you know, it doesn't hurt. I don't really know how to describe what it feels like. It just feels like she's holding on to me with her little beak, but it doesn't hurt. Whereas, you know, even a little tiny parakeet, that can hurt pretty bad when they get a hold of you with that little beak made for crunching seeds and nuts and stuff. Whereas the pigeons just swallow it all whole. So they don't pose any risk, any danger to children. They don't climb around on the bars, which makes them a little less messy, though everything about pigeons is messy. They form pair bonds to you just like, I was about to say just like a parrot would, probably even better. Parrots go sorry guys. Getting over a cold still, but the parrots live, the parrots will go through moods. Let me turn this off and back on, because my camera will shut off after 10 minutes as a security feature for, you know, if you leave it running by accident so you don't kill all your battery. So, bear with me. And we're back, of course. So, the parrots live, you know, sorry. I have a tendency to start to say something, then stop and say, do I really want to say that? And it sounds like I'm stuttering. I don't have a stutter. But a parrot around the size of a pigeon would probably live, you know, maybe even 100 years. Especially like the macaws and cockatoos definitely will. But, You know, a parrot the size of a pigeon, depending on the breed, could outlive you, whereas in pigeons' average lifespan, a pet pigeon, would be around 20 years. So, you know, you'll have them for a while, you get to enjoy them for a while, but you also don't have to commit for life. So, there's a lot of advantages to that. So, hopefully that's what I'll be doing, and I'll show y'all how to raise up babies. But also, when I came in here, I saw this nest right here was actually laying on the ground. It had a couple of wadded up t-shirts, old t-shirts in the bottom to raise the level up a little bit more before I put in nesting materials, which you can see that laying there, kind of gross looking. But I actually left that one out so I can put in more nesting material, and hopefully they can make a little bit more of a bowl shape in there. I'm not really sure how that wound up happening because these doors were closed. I mean, it actually got pushed all the way out here and then dumped off. I'm not sure how that happened. That hen, I'm pretty sure she's ready to lay, but she's been sitting, the nest was further over, she's been sitting right here, like she's acting all broody, but just sitting on the bottom of the nest box. I'm not really sure why. So, she's not been getting up in there. So I'm a little concerned she's going to lay an egg here. Now I've got this gap here where I shove all the poop off the back that way, and I'm afraid the egg's just going to roll off back there. Actually, I've been kind of checking under here to make sure there wasn't an egg laying down here, which there's not, but hopefully she'll lay it in her nest. If not, I may have to try and convince her. Look at that. Now I'm going to have to, you know, forget that. I'll fix it in a little while. I've got these white racing homer squabs that are eating on their own now. I do need to start thinking about trap training them. I've showed you guys I've got my trap up here, but something I don't have is a look around. And if you don't know what that is, a look around is just a cage to go on the outside. Picture it might come back, you know, yay far or whatever. It's more to your liking, but you don't want it to be too big, but you want it to start below, a little bit below the landing board, or on the edge of the landing board, and come up over so they can sit on the landing board, and preferably on the top of the loft right here too, but not be able to go any further. And you might just leave this open at first and let them go in and out as they please, and then you'll start, you know, having it like you want to trap and call them in for food. I'm going to need to teach these babies to come down here for food, but I haven't built a look around yet. I need to start putting some thought into doing that. I really need them to be able to be out here too in the fly, I guess you would call it a fly pen. There's not much room for flying. That's in there from where I was giving them, let them have a bath while the weather was warmer. But with it being cooler out, I'm wanting to keep this kind of closed. But I'm going to be cutting a little door in it right here, just a little one, so it not too much cool air is getting in here, so they can still get out there. But also, this pair of birds from Bill Sonder, I'm pretty disappointed so far. They're supposed to be good bloodline, but so far I wouldn't say I hate the birds, but I certainly don't like them. I mean, they hate me. Now I come over here, you know, they're flipping out, trampling my other homer over here. Yeah, I just don't like them. I don't like them at all. Hopefully they breed out some good babies though. They better be worth it, because I really hate having them in here. But they're not in their nest box, which is not good. And that pair's not in their nest box at the moment. They've been pretty diligent about it, but look, they're down here together, being all nice, and oh, that's not good. That one's got, the cock's gotten a little bloodied up there on his sear. He should be alright, but I'm willing to bet that blue bar cock from Bill Sonder did it. So yeah, I really don't like these birds. If your birds typically act like this, I would really encourage you to follow some of the tips I've given for keeping your pigeons tamer, because everything is so much more enjoyable when your birds are nice and tame. And you can come over here and grab them some food and feed it to this hen on the nest. See, she just took it. She's eating it. And come over here. Hey, Ash. You know, I can reach over, pet him. He doesn't really want to be petted, but it's not like this bird that's going to trample him if I even reach out towards it. So, yeah, they've not really been showing any signs of breeding. They've not even really shown any signs of pairing up. All they do is cause me trouble. if they don't produce any young here in the next few months, I might even give them back to my friend who gave them to me, because I don't like them. Maybe I'll ask him to raise me up some babies from them. Maybe he'd have better luck, I don't know. But I think that's about all there is to it. I think that's about all I wanted to show you. I suppose it's worth mentioning that this hen is really thin, and I'm not sure why this roller hen's so thin. I've got food in there for her, but I don't know what her deal is. Hopefully I can get her weight back up. If you notice, the indigo pair of rollers isn't in here. Spot, the bigger one, I already knew he was a cock. He's raised up several babies for me. But the younger one, I thought was a hen, because I thought they were dilute. I didn't realize they were indigo, so I thought I had done a sex-linked breeding. Which, if he was dilute, it would have been sex-linked, and the little one would have been a hen. But it wasn't. They were the color indigo. So hey, look at this bird. It's just flying into the wall. There's not even anything over there. It's not like it's flying into a window. It's just hitting the wall. Yeah. So I don't know, but they're not in here because that little one turned out to be a cock. Don't really need two cocks running around in the breeding loft. These babies are in here, but you know they're not sexually mature or anything. They're not going to be causing me any trouble. So if anything, the other birds are causing them the trouble, chasing them around. But yeah, I think that's about all there is to it. I've got this pair in here, the blue bar and the black hen. You can see they're in their nest box. This is what I would like to be seeing at this time of night. It's like 9 o'clock, but a little after maybe. So that's what I want to be seeing from this Bill Sonder pair, but so far they're not doing that, so we'll see how things go. But this hen was sitting in the nest earlier. They're doing better. Her leg is still acting weird about her leg, but with that lower nest bowl in there, which is really just an old bowl from the kitchen, an old one, she can get in and out of that easier, so she likes that. But haven't handled the pair of eggs from the roller and the oriental krill. I'll do that tomorrow and let y'all know whether they're fertile or not. Oh, also, it would probably be worth mentioning that, and you could probably tell in the video, that baby pigeon had not been fed, even though it's been a little while. Don't worry about that. It's probably not finished absorbing its yolk from the egg yet. Once it finishes absorbing that yolk and it's ready to eat, it'll let her know and she'll feed it. So don't worry if a few hours after it hatches the pigeon still hasn't been fed. I'm sure she'll have fed it by the time I come and check on them tomorrow, and it'll probably be noticeably bigger tomorrow evening. So, but thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. I've been posting them a bit more often recently, so you'll have a little bit more to look at. You know, I can't remember the username. I should have wrote it down, but whoever it was that commented on my video from the other night, breeding pigeons update in February, I think is what I was calling it. Saw your comment that you love my videos. I'm glad to hear it. Appreciate the feedback, and for all y'all that have been commenting to let me know stuff I had questions about, like self-reliance. You had been commenting quite a bit. I appreciate that. Love the feedback. So thank you guys. Be sure to subscribe and keep watching.